Welcome to the Ready, Aim, Fire podcast, where everything will be not on fire at all.
Hey guys, welcome to Season 2 of the Ready, Aim, Fire podcast. Joining me on the sofa today is the wonderful Mark Takeshi Ota, best known for playing Sun Wukong in Black Myth Wukong. Enjoy. So Mark, let's start at the beginning. What first sparked your interest in acting?
Oh, good question. Interest in acting, probably my primary school teacher who was an actress. She would actually, like, one of the, like, she told this poem always, and she was just really animated always. It was the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Okay. It's not the film with Nick Cage, the terrible film with Nick Cage.
Is it called Sorcerer's Apprentice?
I'm pretty sure there's a film called Sorcerer's Apprentice with Nick Cage. Probably not related to the poem.
Is it based on, well, it's the poem, I think it's a Goethe poem, which
okay,
you know, when the
broom
the gets cut in half, the Disney did a version of that, I think in Fantasia.
Yeah.
And it's when the Sorcerer's Apprentice summons the brooms to help him, and then they just multiply and stuff like that.
Definitely not the same thing, unless Goethe did a Con Air poem. Probably not the same thing.
Could be. Who knows? But yeah, she was an actress, and like I think that was. We also did the what is it called? Nativities and stuff like that, and you know, when I got my first stage laugh and stuff, and people are like, ooh,
so you addicted,
you know.
When I was at school, we did the nativity, and they ran out of roles, so I was a mouse with a tambourine.
Oh, but I bet you killed that role.
My mum stitched a little tail onto some grey sweatpants, and I mean, no one said I did a bad job. So, and that's how I've lived my life.
You know, that is actually true. Sometimes actors always want like positive reinforcement and stuff like that. But actually, if you're not getting notes, it means you're doing well.
Doing a great job.
Yeah. If somebody says, oh, no, do this, do that, do this. And they're like, then you're like, oh, then you start to feel like, oh, am I doing it wrong or something? But no notes, great.
Perfect.
You're doing great.
So your teacher got you into acting or inspired you into acting. This is in Cologne?
Yes.
Where you were born?
I mean, that was like the first. But I actually, I remember I did a Shakespeare, Much Ado About Nothing, when I was like 17 or something like that. In school as well. And actually, I remember thinking, after we did like the second show, I was like, oh, doing like the same thing over and over again, it kind of gets a bit dull. I don't know if I want to do that. So I actually, I mean, my first degree was economics, so I didn't initially do acting. I remember I looked at drama schools in Germany very briefly, and then I mentioned it once to my brother, and he said, yeah, but how are you going to earn money with that? And I was like, yeah, you're right. And then I just never looked.
So you went the complete
opposite. I was
like,
I'm going to be an economist. You know?
I can definitely earn money from that.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. But apparently also not that easy.
Really?
As an economist. I mean, if you're going to work for a bank and stuff like that, but an actual academic is not that easy.
You were talking about earlier, before we started recording, you were talking about your love of puzzle games. Tell me about some of the recent games you've been playing.
The recent games? Mm-hmm. Well, I was saying, me and a friend, we were playing Return to the Obra Dinn and Chants of Sennaar, and currently playing Outer Wilds, and that's been really fun. It's like I grew up with puzzle games a little bit, like Monkey Island and even Indiana Jones games also. But yeah, no, they're I love it. I think there's like such a variety of puzzle games also now. Like even those three, like Chants of Sennaar, Outer Wilds, and Return to the Obra Dinn, completely different. Like they're all puzzle games essentially, but just the gameplay and what you're trying to solve, all so different. I mean, games have, I think, come so far in the last 30, 40 years or whatever they've been around. It's incredible the kind of experiences I think you can have.
I've played Outer World very briefly. Got incredibly frustrated with it. Obviously, it's a 20-minute cycle I think you get.
Yeah.
Have you completed it?
We've not completed it yet.
Okay. No, is that the aim, to be a completionist?
Yeah. I can't just stop. I guess sometimes I do, but it's nice to, like, I don't need to platinum it or something like that, but like it's nice to finish it.
Thanks for watching the Ready Aim Fire podcast. If you're enjoying what we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're already subscribed, then don't forget to share the love with your friends and family. Your support means everything to us, and it means that we can keep bringing you the inside stories behind your favourite games. Thanks, guys. See you on the next episode. So what's the Return to Obra Dinn? You said I haven't heard of that game, but what's that about?
It's you are an insurance investigator and you land on a ship and you just have to solve why everybody died. And it's you kind of go one by one, like one death by one death, and you just have very little clues that you kind of that you have to figure out kind of who killed who or how things happen, and the story unfolds very slowly as you go through that, and it's really fun. You kind of go back in time, and the game mechanics as well are like so just very unusual, because like every time it's all, when you're in a situation, everything is frozen and you're just walking throughout the ship and looking at all the details that are there. And when you go to the next sort of moment, it's frozen again. But at the beginning, you have a little bit of an audio sort of what happened. So all of these clues, the audio, the text that was spoken, and then the frozen moment, you just have to like really look into all the details of what happened. It's a very unique gaming experience, I think.
Is it a bit like being Poirot, but slightly more boring without the fabulous stuff?
Yeah. I mean, like it's. I find it like difficult to explain because it is I find it a very unique game. I don't think I've ever played anything like it. Like really, like from a game design perspective, I think, unless maybe it is based on something else that I just don't know. But I found it an utterly unique gaming experience and a lot of fun. When like sort of the penny drops, when you're trying to be like, oh, I don't know, like how did this end? And then you're like, oh my god, it's this one person. Remember, like his shirt was like that and something like that, and like he had this little thing here or whatever. It's such detail that makes you figure out who did what. It's a really fascinating game.
Would you say like those kind of puzzle games are like your favorite genre of game?
Not necessarily. I think like growing up I played a lot of probably RPGs, first person shooters, also strategy games. I think like the first video game we had on our PC was maybe Command and Conquer.
Oh, classic. What, Red Alert?
Red Alert, I think.
Yeah.
But
Yuri's Revenge, possibly one of the greatest RTS games ever made.
I don't even remember to that detail. I loved Command and Conquer. But it's like all the other, like I played Warcraft 2, 1, 3, what other ones? Civilization and stuff. Those are the ones that I grew up with. But then when Half-Life came out, like I think that was like first time where first-person shooter for me was like so immersive, kind of, rather than before you had like played a little bit of Doom and Castle Wolfenstein, like the old original. Was it not Castle Wolfenstein? It was just called Wolfenstein.
Yeah, I think that was the first 3D game.
Yeah. And those were like kind of a bit more simplistic in some ways. Obviously still groundbreaking in their own way. But Half-Life, just how like kind of, you just plonked into this place and you're like, what the hell is going on? That was amazing. So a lot of RPGs also. I played a lot of Diablo 2 and Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 originally, and
you're in Baldur's Gate 3, I believe.
I am in Baldur's Gate 3.
Multiple roles in.
Multiple minor roles, nothing major. Just a little bit.
What was that process like working on Baldur's Gate? Because obviously, like so many people working, there's so many voiced characters. We've already had Deborah Wilde, who was Lae'zel, or Bazel as her fans call her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. But yeah, what was that process like working with the guys at Larian?
I don't know if I met anyone from Larian, to be honest. I don't know if I was that important. I mean, yeah, I worked at Pit Stop. I think it was maybe my fourth or fifth game at Pit Stop, I think.
Is that down in Brighton, Pit Stop?
It's in Croydon. So,
it's in Croydon, okay.
Yeah, not quite that far. What was different is because they did the motion capture as well as voice, whereas most of the games I do nowadays do not involve any motion capture, even though that is how I started in games. It was great. It was great fun to, like kind of to do all of that as well. I mean, usually when I do voiceovers, it's generally quite physical as well, but it does add like an extra element where you kind of know, all right, this is also going to be in it, and it's quite fun. But the process itself, I mean, wasn't that different in many ways. In the end, like, most of the voice work I do is like, you send a tape in, and maybe you book a job, and then like, are you free next week or something like that? You turn up, and then it's like, what are we doing today? Or something. It's like,
you don't get a lot of prep, do you? Like, they don't say like, oh, here's the deep character study of who you're playing. It's literally just here are the lines.
Very, very rarely.
Yeah.
Very rarely. There's some also studios that don't even send you stuff before or something. Great. Where you just like,
you just turn
up. You just turn up and you just do it. Like, the process was fun again because you did the motion capture for that. you did work on the physicality, and that was important to them, right? So the main character I played, it was a dwarf Dola, an evil dwarf, and it was like they showed me some pictures also of a heavy set dwarf, and you get into the physicality, and and you kind of like just a bit heavier than you and stuff, and like any work I do, getting into the physicality helps you do the voice.
Yeah,
but because you had both a performance director for the movement and one for the voice. That was quite nice because, like, sometimes when you get a note for the physicality, then it does again automatically go into the voice, and that was quite fun.
So if you get to see a character beforehand, like you see the artwork or even some gameplay, maybe does that often define what you think the voice looks like, or are you listening to the director? Yeah,
100%. Like, I love seeing visuals, like anything like that, because it's great to have. Sometimes you have a script, you might have an instinct of what you want to do with this, and then maybe you have a couple of lines that say like, oh, this sound is maybe like gravelly, or this person has like, you get a little bit of background story, and that's all helpful and great, but like, I think for me, visuals are super helpful, or even if it's like other voice examples, sometimes they send like, oh, like 3 different characters, and they're like, we don't want you to do an impression of this, but this is the vibe of the character or something, and that's always really helpful. But yeah, like any visuals, I love also when you're doing cutscenes and stuff, and you have the actual animations, and you're matching it. You just have more to play with, I think, because in the end, it's voiceover is a game of using your imagination to filter that into your voice. And it's, of course, you can just go from your mind or something, but the more you have to work with, the better, I think, and the more fun it is.
Yeah.
And you just, sometimes you just see something and you feel like, oh, what would that sound like or something, And
my understanding is quite rare, though, to be able to get like a full cutscene.
Full cutscene is probably rarer. It depends. I think, well, it's more common with localizations, and there is a fair bit of localizations I do sometimes where, like, from either Japanese or Chinese studios where the original is already done, and then you would do the cutscenes you already see the cutscenes. But yes, it is probably more the exception than the rule.
Okay.
But even if it doesn't have to be the cutscene, even if you just see a character design or something like that, it's
just enough to get you in there.
Yeah, it's really useful. It's really useful.
So going back to Baldur's Gate 3, slightly, obviously one of the stars of that was Neil Newbon, who played Astarion. I understand he's directed you in the game. Is that true?
Well, he directed me a bit on Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, I don't know how many sessions. It was a couple of sessions. I didn't know he was a major character in it. Actually, I met him as a director. I had no idea he was an actor. And I actually had an interaction with him once after that. It was, oh, Neil, nice to see you. And like, and he was putting on the mocap suit, or he was in it, or something. Said, oh, are you acting as well, or something?
And he's like, yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, I've been working on this for quite a while. It's like, oh really? Oh,
I had no idea.
And
then you watch the VGAs and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't assume anything about anyone.
No.
Like, I don't know. If you meet someone and it's like, oh, I'll be your director for today, then you just assume they're a director.
I want to go back to like your early life. So you were born in Cologne, I believe.
That's right. Yeah.
And you spent like most of your childhood or all your childhood in Germany.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And then you moved to Amsterdam. Is that right?
Yeah. I did spend a year in the US when I was 16. It was just like a year abroad. When I finished high school, I went to Amsterdam to study economics.
This is where you did economics. You learned.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a difference between Dutch economics and German economics?
Well, I mean, when you're studying economics, then you just study whatever. There's probably a lot of American economists that you study. But I mean, I just wanted to study abroad. I wanted to study, I don't know, something international. I wanted to study in English and speak more English. And Amsterdam seemed like a good place to go. It's not that far from Cologne. It's like 2.5-hour train ride, 3-hour drive or something. And it's a great city. The Also EU, great stuff. You can just move there. You don't need a visa, anything. It was a great time. It's how I came here as well. Right. Funnily enough,
And now you're trapped.
Didn't need a visa. No, I can go back if I want to. Imagine that. Sorry, this is not a political podcast, I guess.
we have a jar somewhere you have to put a pound in.
Oh, okay.
Or you have to put a euro in every time you
right,
mention
No,
the B word.
I have no euros. Nothing,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, in Amsterdam and then did economics, and then I did a year abroad in Tokyo as well.
Okay.
And just studying Japanese there. And then after I came back, I did finish my degree, but I worked a little bit in like corporate sector, but then I was like, maybe I want to do acting.
Be like, this is terrible. I want to do literally anything other than this.
Yeah, I was so depressed. And now I'm really happy.
Or just
Can you tell?
smash theme. Yeah.
All the time, because the acting profession is what makes you happy.
It's robust.
Yes.
So I think the correct term is polyglot. You speak multiple languages, obviously English, but I assume German was your first language.
Yes.
You speak Dutch.
I do, yeah.
And you speak Japanese.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't grow up speaking Japanese, but my Japanese is pretty decent. I lived there for a while, and
In Tokyo.
Yeah. So yeah, good professional handle on it.
Okay. And is one of your parents Japanese? Or
My dad's Japanese.
Your dad's Japanese.
Yes,
okay,
that's right.
cool.
Yeah. But he didn't speak much Japanese though I was growing up, except for good morning, good evening, and all the standard stuff.
Can you write kanji?
A little bit. I can read it okay. Again, I like whenever I get like Japanese also roles, I'm like I do need a little bit more time for it than English or German or whatever, like just to make sure I can read it. I don't do that much voiceovers in Japanese because you do need to be a bit more on the fly with it and stuff. So if I were to turn up and they give me a different script, then I'm like, I can't read that. It's not ideal,
Yeah. Has it ever happened before where you've done like the English version of a role and then say the German version of a role or the Japanese version of a role?
No, I haven't. I really wanted to once, actually. There was a game I did for a German studio, and I say, hey, I can do this in German also, and didn't end up happening. It was a little upsetting, but I don't know why.
Maybe they thought your German accent wasn't convincing enough.
Oh, you know what? That does happen, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because I lived abroad for so many years. Like, I've done a few jobs, German jobs, and then they were like, can you, sound more German? Like, you sound a little British or something. Yeah. But it's like when you lived abroad for so long, I think also what happens is, because I'm from Cologne, and whenever you do a job in German, they always want Hochdeutsch. They always want, like the equivalent of RP, standard English or something. And because I have a Kölsch accent, a Cologne accent. And so I think when I speak Hochdeutsch, I have to concentrate really hard on speaking proper, and then I think you can tell that I'm trying, and then that's what makes it sound like I'm not native.
Right, okay. Well, I'm from Essex, and I'm putting on a posh accent for this podcast.
Oh,
but
why? Come on, bring it
impress
out.
people. I want to impress people. So when when did you move over to the UK?
2012, during the London Olympics.
Perfect timing. Our peak as a nation. Yeah, it's been downhill since.
Oh no. It was lovely. It was lovely.
lovely.
It was actually a very I remember because my mum at the time was like, "You really want to move to London during the Olympics?"
And you showed her the opening ceremony, and we're like,
"Yeah." It's no. She was worried it was going to be too expensive. But then I was like, "Well, but the Olympics is just for a couple of weeks. After that,
everything will go back to normal."
Well, I'm not saying it's going to be cheap. It's still London, but like the Olympics are not going to change London forever. I guess.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. What could go wrong? But it was lovely. It was kind of going to a few of the Olympics things and not really knowing anybody. People were very open, and London was welcoming. It was beautiful. No, it's been great since then as well. It's been great. Otherwise I would have left.
Talking about London being expensive. I understand you supported yourself as an Uber driver for a period of time. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, I still do.
You still do?
I still do it.
What's it? Just moonlight as an Uber driver for a laugh?
Yeah. In between. To be honest, it's just really handy. Kind of because even today actually, I just Ubered a bit on the way.
Here.
Yeah, and I just parked up the car and it's charging right now, and it's chill.
Do you get to practice your accents? Or just be a different person?
I
every
can.
time?
Yeah, I've done that at times.
And they'd be like, "Sorry, driver, could you sound a bit more German, please?"
Well, the funny thing is, when you speak to people and they don't know you, they don't expect anything from you.
So quite freeing.
No matter how you like, if you group people like that, yeah, what's going on or something, even if it's a strange accent, or like you're just speaking in a way, people are like, why is he speaking like that? You know, it doesn't even make sense. They're not going to be like, hey, why are you speaking like that? Maybe people might question if you're being really weird or something, but in the end, if you're just speaking in a way, then like that's just. People just think, oh, that's how you speak. Because also, like, people move around, right? I remember I met this guy in Japan who lived in London for 4 years. And he had, like, a mix between a Japanese and a London accent. He lived in London during his teenage years. So his English was, Japanese mixed with, like, quite London.
Okay.
And that was quite unusual. I'd never heard that before. But it's obviously that's his natural way of speaking English, and it's people will have all kinds of... And then that's great also when you're doing roles, actually, when, sometimes it can be a bit prescriptive. And if you don't get it perfect or something, like, oh, this character has to be from this town, and if you don't get that accent perfectly right, then it's, like, wrong or something. But, like, people are more complicated than that, I think,
So what kind of, have there been any theatre roles? I know you do a lot of theatre as well, or any production that's had, like, a lasting impact on you and your career and sort of helped define where you are now?
I mean, the biggest theatre show I've worked on was My Neighbour Totoro, which is still on in the West End now.
Is there puppetry involved in that?
There's a lot of puppetry involved. Yeah. So I worked on that at the Barbican first time around, and then when I returned. So that's like the longest theatre job I've ever had. I remember I told my housemate who doesn't work in acting, it's like, oh, it's a 6-month job, it's really long, and for an actor it is. 6 months is ages, and because he doesn't work in the industry, it's like 6 months is not long for a job. Like if you work in any other profession, you get a 6 months contract. It's only a 6-month contract. Like,
I had
why
a
can't they
6-month
give me
probation at one
right?
Yeah.
Like you get like a year or longer or permanent. Like if you get a 6-month contract, just like why only it's temporary, right? Yeah. But for actors, like, holy shit, that's so long, that kind of. But yeah, I mean, it was the kind of the first time. No, it wasn't the first time I did puppetry, but the longest. But it's also, Totoro is a strange one because it's not like, when you think of puppetry, you think like kind of, Sesame Street or whatever. Like
I always think
like
of
small,
being
detailed...
John Malkovich, John Cusack at the start.
Oh shit! Does he do puppetry in there?
I think she does puppetry in there.
Oh, but yeah, like it's more like intricate, delicate, small things, right? But Totoro, the puppets are so big, you're operating with like, you're operating the puppet with 10, up to 10, 11, 12 people at times or something. So it's a very different kind of, theatre job. It's a very collaborative, and you all got to work together and things. But
does that help you with some of the like the mocap stuff that you've done? That physicality.
I mean, I did motion capture before I did Totoro. I did, but there's a lot of overlap. A lot of puppeteers also worked in motion capture. My first job in gaming was motion capture. Was on Dead Island 2, and I worked on that for like 3 years. I did a lot of zombie motion capture for that, and a lot of other people that worked, I think, in the field that did motion capture sort of exclusively. So rather than the people that, if you do full performance capture, you just, a lot of actors that also work in film or whatever get hired to do that. But there's also specialists often that do, a lot of the movement, locomotion is what it's called for motion capture. That is often puppeteers, because there is sort of an interesting overlap of understanding where the I forgot it's called the it's like the skeleton or the model that is in the game. It's almost like you're puppeteering that with your movement. The rig, that's right. The motion capture rig, you are controlling that with your body. So you're kind of puppeteering that, because it doesn't always reflect exactly your movement. You kind of, because it can have a different shape from you, and sometimes then you look.
You're watching it on a screen.
You can look at it, yes. For example, for Dead Island 2, I played, very different sized kind of zombies. Sometimes they would be like very small and quick. You have the runners that are very fast. You had some of the bigger ones, and they're like, they move a bit slower, and you kind of, and they're heavier, and everything. And so you kind of have to look at, okay, how does this look when I move like that. And when they're, for example, the really big 8-foot tall beings, or there were these exploding ones that go very slow. And if you move like you do with the smaller ones, it looks really unnatural, because like a 7-foot, 8-foot tall, 400-pound thinging would not move with the same speed and agility. So I think and that's very similar to puppeteering, like actually Totoro as well. Like if you have a very big puppet that is, some of the Totoro puppets are also like 8-9 foot tall or something. And, when that guy walks, it has to have that sort of, it can't go.
It'd be fun if it did, though.
It would
turn on his head,
and it would feel wrong. Like if you saw it, you'd be like, or something, But yeah, there's a lot of overlap there, I think.
When you did Dead Island 2, did you have to go to zombie school?
I
asked this because I was a extra in a zombie film, and I had to go to zombie school. I was in
Did you?
Cockneys versus Zombies.
Cockneys versus Zombies.
That's a real film. I did not make that
Were
up.
you both Cockney and
I was
zombie?
a zombie West Ham fan.
Oh.
And I had to be it was a fight between loads of undead West Ham fans and undead Millwall fans they hate each other.
Wow.
I'm a West Ham fan in real life.
Right.
For my sins. And yeah, we all had to have a bust up in the middle of the street, but as zombies. It was lots of fun.
Right.
And you can spot me very easily in the film because I'm wearing a big number 6 on my back.
Well done.
That's
a good
my
number.
only acting experience.
Well, how was zombie school, though?
It was great. So
Yeah.
what was really funny was, we had to get there super early. It was in Canary Wharf. We had to get there at like 3 a.m. And we basically sat in like this church hall, and then they gave us all makeup to make us look undead. We went and stood outside in like the courtyard of the church, and we're standing in like rows, and had someone at the front going like, ooh, and then we would do that. And some old boy was walking past with his dog at like 6 a.m. and just walked around the corner and
what's
saw
going on
these
here?
zombies and just turned around and walked back.
Yeah,
It was a lot of fun.
Sounds a little weird on your morning walk, I bet. Yeah. I didn't have zombie school. It was actually, I did initially. Oh, well, maybe I did before. I trained. I did a few courses at a company called the Mocap Vaults.
Okay.
And because Gareth Taylor, who is one of the teachers there, he gave like a talk once, and I listened to it, and then I was like, oh, motion capture, that sounds, because I was always a very physical performer in like whatever I did, like in theater also and stuff, and that'd be fun, like motion capture for video games. So I did a few courses with them, and they did teach you a little bit the basics, but then there was just an audition that came around, and it happened to be for Dead Island 2, and I was quite happy to be selected for it. They did just, in the audition, I remember it was with Jose Luis Garcia, who I worked then with for 3 years. He in the audition, it was just like, okay, we have just different kinds of zombies. You can be like a slow zombie, be a fast zombie, be like this kind of small zombie that kind of just jumps up on things and stuff. And maybe I was just a natural. I don't know why, what it was.
Scurrying around, you have to do that.
Yeah, scurried around, and like being a zombie taught me a lot.
Yeah,
actually. I think there's something about absolute commitment when you're a zombie. You can't half-ass it. Like, it's just not possible. Like, whatever you're doing, even if you're the slow zombie, and it's just like, you can't, and if you're a fast zombie, it's like the runners, they're called. It was like sort of like Usain Bolt on like 15 grams of cocaine or something, and he wants that kebab or something like that, and you just have to like, and you can't, like, I can't even do it right here, but you really have to commit fully. And I think that translates to a lot of voice acting, like where, like, sometimes when a lot of voice acting is high stakes, like they not everything, but oftentimes it's very high stakes, life and death, right? There's often battles and shit, and like for freedom and safety and everything, and you can't just be like, hey, yeah, should we like fight or something? Like, no, it's like, if
I feel like that was my accent.
should we like fight? Yeah.
So, Mark, I couldn't have you on the show without talking, obviously, about Black Myth Wukong. Originally, I believe you were cast to voice green-capped and non-white.
Green cap martialist, that's right.
Green-capped martialist and non-white.
That's right.
But then you also got the opportunity to audition for Sun Wukong.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, it just happened in session, basically. I mean, Beth Park, who I also worked with maybe on Baldur's Gate 3 or something else. I don't remember. It all blurs into one at some point. But we did non-white actually, and the character is basically like a former, I think, Chinese opera singer is meant to be the backstory or something. So he's got quite a wild voice or something. We were just doing that. And then at the end of the session, I think we had like half an hour left or something. And then Beth just said to the person from the studio, was like, should we test Mark also for, these other roles we've been struggling to cast or something? And they were both Erlang Shen and Sun Wukong, and they just showed me it's one of those things where I think I was quite lucky, because when you first do an audition for things at home, again, it's this, you don't have all the material, you just get a script or whatever, and you just do whatever you think.
Did you know
right.
the significance of the character, though, in Sun Wukong? Do you know he was the final boss?
Well, they showed me the sequence,
okay.
Right? They showed me that's what I mean. That was what I was lucky with, because at home, you don't have any of that material, but because I was there in studio, they showed me the opening sequence, actually.
Yeah, which is awesome.
So I saw all that, and so they explained the character to me. I didn't know that much about, actually, the Journey to the West. Obviously, like, in pop culture, sort of, you pick up things, and I used to watch Dragon Ball, so, like, I know that. It's obviously based on Journey to the West, but I don't know, they just showed me the video, and they also played the Chinese original, and that just came out, and then they just offered me the job. It was so they like, there's also sometimes people ask about like preparation or whatever. This voice literally just came out the way it did, based on the video and the Chinese original, which specifically they were like, you don't need to copy it because it's a different language, it's different, but let it use as inspiration, and then that's just what came out.
So was that part of your direction, like not to put like a sort of a Chinese accent, but speaking
no, not
English,
at all, not at all. British
like,
accent,
yeah,
like
okay.
like it was. I actually kept saying bastard, and he was like bastard.
Yes,
bastard. I was like, oh
bastard.
shit, I don't know.
Unless you're from the north, which they say bastard.
Bastard. I
Like
think
Sean
I did
Dean.
sort of like, because again, my natural accent sometimes mixes a lot of different things. But this was, so that was one of the lines I had to record.
You bastards, killing my kind.
That was but it's great, like doing that. Yeah, it was epic. Seeing that kind of cutscene also, it gives you like permission to just freaking go all out. It's like, two gods fighting each other. Like, there's no holding back. Just fucking go for it.
I know you've played through the game yourself. What was it like experiencing it as, having worked on it and then experiencing it as a player?
It was pretty awesome. I mean, like, again, some of the sequences in there, like, that I voiced on also. I think even like some of the later cutscenes, which I didn't see when I voiced them, they're so good. Watching them, like, I was often moved and like, I was like, can't believe, I'm part of this, because it's I think the work they did on that is genuinely, I think, a masterpiece in some way. Like, I think it's and I'm just a very small part of that. Yeah, it's a beautiful game, I think, and a beautiful story, and clearly resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah,
because there's just a lot of love for that game. So it's amazing. It's amazing. But at the same time, I was actually quite. I mean, I'm pretty proud of my performance in there. I think, like, as you watching the sequences, I don't necessarily watch them and say, "Ooh, I should have done this, should have done that." I think it fits really well, and that's also a credit to, the director and the studio. That, in the end, when you're doing casting well, then you don't have to do that much work later on. And for whatever reason, I think what I did fit. And that's why they offered me the job, and I'm very grateful for that. And we played around in the when we recorded it, but sometimes things just fit, and when I watch it, I'm really proud that I'm part of it, and I think it fits. Like, even though some people might think otherwise, and that's fine.
Well, those people are wrong. What were your favorite parts of working on the game?
I think actually my 100% favorite part was when I voiced the cutscenes aside from the first one, I didn't see the cutscenes. And there was one particular one, I think end of chapter 5 cutscene. I voiced in the booth, and you know, like I had the Chinese original, and you obviously try your best to do it, but not knowing how it's going to look in the end. And I think that cutscene, I think somebody shared it online before I even played the game, and I was like, oh, I'm going to watch it. And it's so beautiful. Like the whole scene. Actually, a friend of mine, Arena, voiced what's the name? Is it Rakshasi, I think? Another character in it. And the whole, it's like an anime masterpiece. I think the anime makers, the animators that worked on it also, like, are particularly, they work in animation aside from video games a lot. But the whole thing, like the music, the acting from all the other voice actors, and I actually cried. I think it was so beautiful. And part of me thought, like, oh my God, I've peaked. It's genuinely, I think it's so beautiful, and it's a bit surreal, like watching it then and being like I did that. I don't know, it's just gorgeous. Yeah.
What were the most challenging aspects of working on the game?
Honestly, it wasn't that hard. I don't know.
You're supposed to gatekeep. You're supposed to be like, not only uber professionals.
I don't know. Like, well, I mean.
That wasn't a throwback to you're driving an Uber, by the way. I mean, the German.
I don't know. Sometimes it just works. I think like we had a great time. Beth is a beautiful director, is wonderful. Creates a really good environment that you feel comfortable in, but gives helpful direction. And game science also was great to work with. The producer that was on the line from Game Science was also really helpful, and also she was really sweet and complimentary, and like I think they like that. Not that I need my ego stroked. I said earlier, no notes often is good, you know, in acting.
Hang on, we got a rider before you came in. No.
The writer said it has to be
Get
secret.
Rid of all of the blue M&Ms.
But like it was so it was actually pretty smooth. Like, I think, you know, sometimes you work on things and you also, sometimes you're in the room, it's like, am I supposed to be here? Because I'm not sure I can give you what you want. That does happen occasionally. And you try your best and you're like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, there wasn't anything, I think, in particular that was like, I don't know, really.
Nothing stands out.
Yeah, no, it was pretty smooth. So, yeah, no, I was happy with it.
So you talked about coming up with, you know, how the voices sort of like find their way through. I know Stephen King in writing always says that he doesn't come up with the ideas. He's like a vessel, and like the universe pours the idea, which I think is quite a nice way of saying. Sun Wukong specifically has quite a distinctive laugh. How did you come up with this laugh?
Again, I think it's just like, it's a combination of what they said to me. They said, like, it's like, you know, again, because I didn't know... I haven't read the novels or something growing up or something, but they said he's a trickster god, he's cheeky, he's like, he's not a baddie, he's not evil, but he's also not like a goodie in that way, you know. He's a trickster god, you know. He like transforms into all these other things. So he gets joy from that, right? That's like, I read Journey to the West afterwards, and it was like, you know, he goes to freaking Jade Palace and he pisses in the like I think the peach fields or something. He eats all the peaches, like, and even though he's not supposed to, and there's even a sequence in the very end, not to spoil it or something, where he just pisses something in heaven or something, and it's just like he's not like so. I think
he's been an embarrassing friend to take on a night out.
Yeah, but like
fun.
A good time,
fun, yeah,
a hell of a good time, you know. So, and again, it is also when you do localizations, you take a lot of inspiration from. They always usually show you like the original and stuff, and that immediately takes you into the world and with the visuals as well. So. I think the laugh in the Chinese original is probably somewhat different, but I mean, it's probably also influenced by, you know, my experience of seeing anime or whatever, you know. But it was, I don't know, it just came out that way and it was fun. You watch the visual and it's like, like it's the laugh, the joy, the knowledge of that you are like powerful, which I can totally relate to. But yeah, it just comes out sometimes. I don't think I think Stephen King speaks right there. It just sort of happens, right place, right time, I think.
Another one of your big roles is you were the Great Ace Attorney in the Ace Attorney series.
Yeah.
So that was your first major voiceover role in games?
It was my first voiceover role in games at all.
How did that come about?
It was actually it's a nice kind of combination of circumstances, because during the pandemic, I was still working on Dead Island, and then the pandemic hit, and then a lot of people asked me about, like, how'd you get into motion capture? And there was a day where 2 people asked me in the same day, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to give a Zoom and tell people how that works. But yeah, so the voice producer also joined, and we just gave a Zoom to people just to talk about stuff. And then he got in touch with me months later and was like, hey, kid, do you have any samples you could send me for this job? And if you can record anything extra. And he said, like, young hero RP type. That's all he said. And I didn't have much. I had like a few clips of some stuff that I did, very short. But then actually that same evening, I tore my meniscus. Just randomly.
Remind me where the meniscus is.
The meniscus is in your knee. I tore my medial meniscus in here, which means I couldn't walk anymore. I had to go to hospital. But so then the next day, I was just in my bed. I said, I have to record this shit, and I took a speech from Troll Hunters.
Oh yeah,
the TV show. It's like destiny is a gift. That speech, and I recorded that. And I sent it off, had surgery, and then 2 months later, they just messaged me and say, hey, you got this job. And it was the lead character in a video game. And I was like, really? Just crazy. Like it was the first voiceover I did for a video game. And so I really have to thank, Chris Hopkins was the producer, and he just thought, because they wanted somebody of Japanese origin who speaks somewhat more with an RP accent, because the character himself also studied English, and they liked also the mix of some people in the game having a Japanese accent and some not.
It's a period game.
It's a period game, yeah, set in London. So it was brilliant to be part of, and yeah, very, very proud of it.
Since it was your first major voiceover job, what surprised you the most about stepping from doing mocap stuff, doing stage stuff, into a VO booth?
Maybe how I don't know if this was on the first job, because there was maybe a lot of nerves, but over the time also how it can be quite collaborative. In some ways, maybe it is a little bit like theater. It is a lot like what you bring to it, I think. The first time you do a new character, the first, few minutes or first few lines is always about finding the character, finding the voice, and it's what you bring to the table or something, and you can make suggestions. Usually people are quite open to it, because also again they might have certain ideas of what they want, and sometimes these ideas are quite specific, but sometimes also it's like, oh, we've written this, and but you bring also, our job is to bring our experience to it and do something with it. Obviously you do an audition, and then that's kind of what they expect also, but if you have sometimes ideas, and it's not about rewriting the thing or something, but if there's something that comes up during your sessions that is a little bit different from maybe what people thought, it's a collaborative journey, and that's quite fun. What further surprised me, maybe also how physical voice acting can be. Maybe not Great Ace Attorney, because that's
relatively not. There's not a lot of grunting.
It's not a fighting
game,
game. Exactly. But for example, on Dark Tide, Warhammer Dark Tide, which I voiced a character in, that came out this year. Warhammer is so physical.
We've had Mike Geary on the podcast.
I know. We both played. I think at the time, probably he was still working on it, maybe. But we were the same new class, right?
The
RBTs. Yeah. RBTs. So we are different. Michael and I are different personalities of the RBTs class that was added. And actually, Deborah Wild is the female version of my personality. So we're both the authoritarian.
I actually heard her voice in the wild when I was playing Space Marine 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, because we've only done one season of this so far, but first time I've actually played a game and been like, I think that's Deborah's voice.
Yeah.
And it's just an audio recording you find in like a
Oh,
corridor,
right.
and you press it, and I was just like, that sounds like
random,
Deborah. Yeah,
just kind of pops up.
That's funny.
But yeah, that Warhammer was so physical. Like we'd always did just like, it was actually one of the jobs we often just did 1 hour sessions because they were so exhausting. And it's like, it's very physical. And it was like, they want to hear the characters also moving about and stuff. You know, if you just like, we are here and stuff, it's like, no, you want to, over there, whatever, you know, like stuff like that. You know, and all of that is very...
You mentioned Red Alert earlier, or Command & Conquer Red Alert, and I mentioned Yuri's Revenge. I miss the cutscenes being live action. It was such a cool thing.
I did love
from like
it.
the turn of the century. It was so amazing. And they were the sets were cheap, the costumes were cheap, but they had like Tim Curry going space, you know, like they had all these things.
They had great, yeah.
That sounded a little bit more Christopher Walken, but that was what he did.
Space.
Yeah, come closer.
This was something else entirely.
You said you've done a bit of directing as well. We've had a couple of directors on, so we had Damien Goodwin, we've had Kirsty Gilmore, got a few more coming up as well. You also said that you were directed by people like Neil Newbon. Did he give you any particular advice, or have Kirsty given you any advice about how to direct, how to do the role?
I didn't do much directing, so I don't want to big up myself too much. I've done like basically when they were needing some people who could do some directing and speak German. So because they did some localizations, so I worked on that on a couple of projects at Molyneux.
I've been to Molyneux. I went. We did a shoot for the new Bond.
Oh yeah,
very cool.
A friend of mine is actually in that as well. But anyway, I remember at the time when I was first asked, I was like quite panicking because I was like, I have no idea how to do this. I don't know how to direct people. And I asked a friend of mine who was a theater director also. I said, hey, can we talk? Because I need to know what to do or something. And she was like, look, you've been directed many times. You know what's not great to hear as an actor, and you know what's helpful. Just try to be helpful, you know, like, and I think that's what it is. And, you know, like, as an actor, you're pretty good at reading the room. Mm-hmm. I think you're good at reading people. And
you have to work off other talent.
Exactly.
As well,
yeah, that's kind of what we do. So if you can sense somebody's feeling a bit like shy, insecure, you're just trying to help them out. If somebody's very confident, you know, you can kind of like be a bit more, do this, do that, whatever, you know. I think that's kind of how I approach it. I mean, like when I worked with Neil, like it was in a couple of sessions and I wasn't doing any directing at the time. So like it wasn't that we spoke deeply about it. And also same with Kirsty also, like with a lot of voiceover stuff, I think what happens is also you don't get to talk much aside from doing the job. You know, like you go in, you go, okay, we got 2 hours, we got to get this done. You know, in between you'll have a break. You do a bit of a catch up maybe or something, you know, and but there's not that much more time. And you know, also like oftentimes these things are booked so tightly. It's like once I'm done with my 2 hours, I know 5 minutes later another actor's going to come and they have to prepare for the next session. So there isn't really that much time to do that. But I think like having done acting helps you also be a useful director. I think as a director, you're trying to understand a little bit of the bigger picture, and you're trying to, you know, be helpful to the actor to help them give a good performance, because you want them to be able to shine, because also that makes you shine as a director. That's your job, right? Like the better the performance, the better for everyone, you know, and however you achieve that. And that's, I think, the key, you know. But like I said, I've not worked that much as a director, much more as an actor, you know?
But for the future, is something you want to
I'd be open to it, you know, if somebody wants that, you know. You know, I'd be open to it.
We'll have like a ticker at the bottom of the screen saying hire him now.
You know, like I think I'd be open to it. It's a very different kind of job, I think. As an actor, it's kind of like you just focus on the one thing. As a director, I feel like there's you're working with the director, but you're also working with the client, and you're working with the engineer. You're trying to keep the room kind of together and make sure that everybody feels comfortable, because again, that is conducive to a good working environment, and that is, I think, your job. So yeah, it's a different kind of pressure, but be nice for variety.
Yeah.
It's the spice of life.
Exactly. Well, speaking of spices, I did
hot
warn you.
ones?
Thank you for that segue. I did warn you that I was going to ask you a food-related question. This
Oh,
is
you
it.
did, didn't you?
So obviously you're
Okay.
German-Japanese heritage.
Yes.
So the Japanese are often praised for the quality of their food and the variety of their dishes. I think the Germans are actually disparaged for the quality of food, which I think is unfair.
Excuse me?
I'm
doing
not
that?
bastards. Bastards.
You know when people are like, some people are.
Yeah.
You know, who's the some
Some
people?
people
Some
who
people. I don't know.
need to
give me
delete
one
their
example.
Twitter account. If you were to have to create a German-Japanese fusion dish, do the David Brent, what would it be?
Fusion, like that.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, reference. German Japanese fusion dish. I think one of my fave German dishes is maybe Schweinshaxe.
Oh yes, I love
It's
it.
very good.
Yeah,
Like
pork
a
knuckle for the
pork-
uninitiated.
Yeah. How do I fusion that with Japan? I don't know. It doesn't work on rice. Like I like. What is it? I like ramen a lot in Japan, which obviously is originally from China, but you could make a Schweinshaxe ramen.
You could make a
Actually, shit, that sounds amazing.
You heard it here first.
Like a Schweinshaxe ramen. Man,
That would
has
be
anybody come
fantastic.
up with that?
They should have.
Oh
Or maybe
my
you can.
God. A tonkotsu? Imagine like a tonkotsu ramen with like a big bloody Schweinshaxe on top.
I'm so ready.
Oh my God, so am I.
I'm ready for the meat sweats.
Trademark 2025. Oh, yes.
Did you not? You signed a contract that we own everything that's said on the show.
No, I don't. I think the paperwork has come through yet.
Okay, so back to gaming after our food question. Do you have a favourite line from any of the characters you voiced?
I really liked in Dark Tide. There's a wait. Somebody uploads these clips also, but there's a conversation that the authoritarian has with an ogrin, and he says something about a coinkydink, and the authoritarian is a character that's like. Very by the book always, and he has a slight Japanese accent, and then he goes, "Yes, the coinkydink" or something, and he says it. Even in the animation, he's like, "Yes, the coinkydink," and it's very funny. There's also in Great Ace Attorney, there's a whole speech. I'm really bad at remembering lines because they're always in front of you. And you voice them, but there's a speech about what is this welling up inside me? It's a kind of desire to take down my prey or something like that. Because he talks about how he's like finding the truth in court. Like he's coming into his own as a lawyer, and that's really fun. But just also the speech from Black Myth Wukong, I think in the beginning is pretty awesome. Immortality, for that word. All realms and beings have ruined themselves. Something like that, I think. That one was fun too. Yeah.
What type of characters have you not played yet that you want to explore next?
I think somehow lately I've gotten into playing a lot of very gruff characters and like a lot of the deep voice and stuff, and I'm like, in life I'm not even like that. I don't know. Like so they're like some I remember after drama school, one of the first jobs I did was this web series called Wedding Dates, if you want to find it. It was actually really fun. It was like a comedy web series, and I always really liked sitcoms, and I enjoyed doing that show so much. It was like you had a great script, but also you could improvise off the script and do something else. And I'd love to do something a bit more comedy kind of vibe. And so like kind of, I think in that vein, that'd be really fun, I think. And also in video games, oftentimes the scripts are like, you just do lines and they're like a little bit out of context. And, so if you had, for example, like a comedy script, something where you just really, maybe even with another actor, imagine that. Oh, not just on your own in a booth. That'd be great, and you can just bounce off each other and have like, jokes, that'd be great.
Is there anything you're currently working on that you're allowed to tell us about? Or anything about to come out?
I don't think so. I think, like, to be honest, I'm actually really bad at putting stuff on social media that I already have done. So there's stuff that came out this year, I think. I did a role in Age of Mythology. What was that? Age of Mythology. They had a
That was
Japanese
the feminist
DLC.
version of Age of Mythology.
It would be, yeah.
Great name.
And that was really fun. I played a few gods in there or something. I
Okay,
think.
cool, very cool.
I did also play a small role in Assassin's Creed in the Shadows one. But was there anything major I did this year? No, and all the stuff that I've been doing is yet to come out, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always also like with games, there's all these NDAs. You can't say anything. You don't want to put a foot wrong. But I have worked on a few exciting things this year. I can say that. Yeah.
Well, and there's the ramen bar coming soon.
Oh, the ramen Schweinshaxe.
Yeah.
I think that could really take off, actually.
Work,
yeah.
I'm a good cook.
Oh, wait. Are you
I'm
involved in
coming
that?
in, yeah.
I'm
jumping in 2-footed. It's a 2-footed challenge.
I think you're too busy for that, darling.
Okay, well,
You're already taken.
I felt
like people here will be upset if I take you away from this.
I felt like there'd been a
job,
bond
right?
formed. Obviously not.
Oh, sorry. No, I actually
fine.
meant.
I'll go back to my job.
Oh,
what advice,
damn it,
Mark, would you give to
terrible.
actors hoping to break into video game performance today?
I would say don't. It's a very unstable profession.
Okay.
No, what advice would I give? Let's be positive. Let's be hopeful, right? But seriously, I mean, like, oftentimes, I remember when I got into acting, that was always, actors always say, like, don't become an actor. Don't become an actor unless you don't want to do anything else. If there's nothing else you want to do, fine. Then if there's nothing else you want to do and you do want to do it, what advice would I give? It's useful to play games. I guess like people that want to work specifically in games, they probably do that already. Having an understanding of what types of games there are, what types of performances maybe are required for different styles or something of games is useful. I mean, it's good to train and get coaching. Drama school is great if you want to do that and can do that. But I suppose for voice acting, that's not necessary. I think it's just this, keep playing with your voice and what you can do with it. What's really important, sometimes people actually think voice acting is all about quirky voices or weird voices, right? And it can be if you're really good at that and you can do that convincingly. But it's this like wanky actor thing, right? It's like truthfulness and like something that is really just believable, like as a fully rounded character. It's not enough to just put on a silly voice or be Cologne, and that's great.
That's very good.
Thank you. Like that's all great, but like to tell a story truthfully and have that really, I don't know if this is useful advice.
I think it's useful. I don't think it's wanky at all. I think it's nice advice.
Yeah, and like I think the way to do that is to record yourself, listen back to it, and maybe even ask other people to listen to it and be kind of like, hey, do you buy that? Do you believe that? Do you believe that this is whatever you were trying to go for? If you're like, all right, this this tape is meant to be like a gangster or something like that. Do you believe that? And to take that criticism on board, I think and it's because it's usually meant to be constructive. If people are, and also like people, you don't have to be a professional to like listen to something and be like, I don't really buy that. Like a non-professional might not be able to give you specific advice on how to fix it. But if somebody says like, I don't know, I don't quite believe it. Yeah, something is weird. Then it's your job as a voice actor to go back and be like, okay, what is the thing that makes it not believable? Yeah. And those are the tricks. I think that's the thing, because when you're voice acting, you're in a session, you have limited time. The director, like, you might come in with this great idea. Oh, this is how I'm going to do that. And then the director might be like, that's all great, but like we go in a slightly different direction with this, and like, can you try this and try that or whatever? And if you can't respond to that, then it's difficult to continue to be rehired, I think, because in the end, the director's job is to make sure that you doing your lines on your own will match to another person doing their lines on their own and make it a believable scene together. So if you can't adjust something,
you have to be part of the team.
Exactly. That's why it's a collaborative performance, like a collaborative job, and I think that's really important. So to get good at that, like change your performance, adjust things, Like listen to it back. Like if you do one take and you're like, all right, I did this as the 60-year-old Southern man, and but maybe now he's a 20-year-old student who wants to work in finance or something, and you say the same script but with this different vibe. If you can do all of that, that's really good. I think.
What a great answer. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Same.
It's gone so quickly.
Indeed. So it does.
That's all from us on this episode of the Ready Aim Fire podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you on the next one.